Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Guys, it is Friday. It's Community Beacon. I'm ready. We're going to get into some connection. We're going to really get into connection to self. I think that's where we left off last week. The brother asked me prior to jumping on. Um, let's get AI Jonah going. Give me a second.
Yo, check the mic, 1, 2, Beacon is the name. Lights up the city, ain't playing no games. Joel Simmons and Michael Seville, the vision is clear. Dropping knowledge, conquering all of your fear. Beacon, beacon, that's the sound of the future. The main hosts are here, they built the whole structure. Community strong, we rise from the ground. The beacon power up, yeah, time to look up.
AI
We are in
Jonah.
the we are in the place to be. AI Jonah. That's the rap name. AI Jonah.
Oh
With
man.
the intro. Guys, it's Community Beacon. It's Friday, December 12th, 2025. We are here. We are present. I am Palm Beach Mike. Look, this even says Palm Beach Mike. I'm just noticing. The hat stands for Palm Beach Mike, not the. Maybe I don't need to talk about a copyright infringement. They're suing people for everything these days. Can you
There it
imagine
is.
standing up? You got to stand through that entire standing ovation. Come on, man, that's excellence.
That's
And you
right.
got to get comfortable with it. Who's comfortable with it?
That's right.
And on the other side of the screen, we got my brother from another mother, the incomparable Joel Simmons of the Tenacity Foundation. You gonna give yourself a yeah.
There it is. Oh man, shots fired.
What is going on? This thing has there's the okay.
Love it.
Let's jump into this, man. I gotta go pick up this gentleman who told me he took the wrong bus. So I'm gonna be heading on that side of the town. We'll get into connection. Let's ground a little bit, man. I think today's talk on connection, it's really the you know if you want it to be, it starts with me. That's the thought that came up in my mind as we're
Hey,
going through.
hold on 1 second, Mike. Hold on 1 second, Mike. You got
What
a
we
special
got?
shout out going on here. Go ahead, say it, Ma.
Hey, Mike. This is your
Hey,
Uncle
what's
Mom.
going on? What's going on,
All
Mom?
is
How are you
good.
doing?
I can't hear you that well, but y'all have a wonderful show and enlighten the people.
All right. You heard that? She
All
said, I
right, well,
can't hear you
that's
that
the
well, but
community
y'all have
beacon.
a wonderful
Appreciate
show
you.
and enlighten the people.
And God bless you both.
And God
Yeah,
bless
I
you
was
both.
able to hear. I was able to hear her. Yeah.
Okay. So long, Mama.
All right.
Yeah, man. Whenever you see that
So
thing go mute and Mama calls, Mama calls, Mama calls. It just is what it
yeah,
is, man.
yeah.
It is what it is.
I hear you. I hear you. All right. Getting back to it.
Let's go.
Connection.
Connection.
Most importantly, self connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was interesting. I always think self connection, and I've been doing a lot of introspection lately. Um, I thought, and I don't know if is this me cutting off, brother? I don't see. I see me.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Can you hear me well?
Is it me frozen or are you frozen? This show. This must mean the show is gonna be fire today.
Show's gonna be fire, man. That's what
It
always
has to
happens.
be.
Every time the show's gonna be fire, it happens like that. So let's roll.
All right, so we'll get into. Are we ready? Should I? Let me jump out and jump back in if it's me.
Okay. All right. Sounds
Hold
good.
on.
Connection, y'all.
I think
Connection.
we have
Y'all
a
call
slight
up
delay.
your friends.
Probably. I got a slight delay on my side.
Call your friends up. Call your friends up. Tell them to jump on. It's gonna be we're gonna get in here and get out, but it's gonna be real good though, because we're gonna be talking about connection. And the thing about it is, like, connection it's really a big thing. It really is. Enough people are not understanding the power of connection. And so I believe that's the reason why Mike came up with this, because it was really all about talking about the power of connection, really being able to get in there and understand what connection can do for you. Right. And so when we started talking about connection, defining connection, like, what is connection? Right. So here's one definition: a relationship in which a person, thing, or idea is linked or associated with something else. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. I actually did a training on connection back at the fire department a long time ago. And I broke this thing down for people to understand that there's multiple levels of connection. We're going to talk about self-connection today, but multiple levels. I mean, we started to talk about self-connection, connection with God, connection with others, families, friends, even connection with inanimate things. And people they're like, what? That doesn't make sense. But when you break it down at the infinite level, you begin to understand connection is everything. It's absolutely everything. And when we don't understand connection, we walk without connection. We walk disconnected. And sometimes that may be a good thing, but it's best if you can learn what connection truly is all about and utilize it as a power of yours, maybe even a superpower of yours. Then you will know when to connect and when to disconnect, because both of them are as powerful as the other when used appropriately. So I'm just ready to dive on in this thing. I'm ready to get on in this. Mike, let's go, man. What you got?
Okay, awesome. I heard what you said, and especially in regards to the connection and disconnections. I wanted to say, from my point of view, there's never a grand disconnect. For me personally, I definitely think within connection there are boundaries that we can start to work on. I was listening to Nas's song a while ago. Nas said, my greatest create, besides my kids, boundaries are my greatest creation. But what happens is, what I've noticed for myself is, when I get into disconnection, when I'm in disconnection, I go into pattern mode, right? It becomes somewhat of a robotic, you know what I mean? Something that I've practiced before. It keeps me safe, because the brain always wants to keep us safe. Are you hearing me, brother? I think I'm, for whatever reason, it's like there's a cutting in and cutting out. We good? No. All right, perfect. So one of the things that I spoke about months ago, or probably a year ago or something, I said things are about being connected and being disconnected. And here's the thing, because there's no right or wrong. Like, I implore us to all, like, kind of figure these things out for ourselves and do experiments. Like, figure out what iteration works for you, what things work for you. One of the things I was thinking about, and as we start the show, is like what does connection feel? What does it feel like within ourselves? And so this is here's a real quick experiment I thought would be dope. Like, I said, okay, because this is what I normally do. So what I used to do was, when I wanted to get in connection, I would close my eyes. Right. So I want all of us to, in this moment, just try this experiment, just try it on, right? Is to close your eyes and start to get within connection within yourself.
Okay, so we're connecting with self. All right.
Yeah, connecting with self. So you close your eyes, you're connecting with self. So start to feel like, go within. You can do, and a lot of people have issues with it. I used to, but what do your fingers feel like? Put your awareness, your thought process, your thinking, put it in your fingertips. You can even rub them together if it grounds you. right now. Then you can start to put the connection within your heart. Feel that, the different sensations as you connect with yourself. There's times when there's times when we go a long time without connecting with ourselves, right? Your stomach, feel that. Your breath. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Your thoughts. What are you thinking? Where is it located? When you talk about thinking, what is Mike doing right now? All right. Feel that connection. Open your eyes, right? That's it. And now here's something that I thought was even more interesting, or as interesting, is to start to do it with your eyes open. So I'm looking in the computer screen and my eyes open. I'm looking at Joel. And I'm not taking Joel in, but I'm taking myself in as well. Where am I as I'm looking at somebody, like the practice of it? Go back to your heart, your fingertips, your stomach, your breath. Now, what about your thoughts too? Now, think about your thoughts now, right? Still within yourself, but now you're probably looking at me and Joe. All right. Take a deep breath on that. And I invite you to go back and as just in this experiment, see what the difference was. And me and the brother can probably talk about this. Like, what's the difference between when you were eyes closed and focused on yourself and you were connecting with all those different sensations in your body and your breath and your thoughts when your eyes were closed? And then kind of see what it's like when your eyes are open. Right? If somebody happened to be in front of you, what the awareness was like. Were there any judgments going on just within your body about yourself? About what is Mike doing? This is weird. And the thing about this is that there's no wrong way to do it. It's just about being in connection. And next time that you feel that you're possibly in disconnection, what does that look like? Like sometimes we're in the room and we're having conversations and someone asks us, hey, how you doing? Something quick for me when I'm in disconnection. I can say, oh, God is good, or whatever it is that a person says, just because it's just automatically comes out. As opposed to when you're in connection with yourself and someone asks you, how you doing? And you really get to check in. Be connected within yourself. Brother, how was that experience for you? Real quick. We've never done this before. I've never done this before on the live show. But how was that for you, bro?
Yeah, man. It was, I tell you, for me, so I use something very similar to that.
How was this experience for you?
When I'm connecting with God. It's very similar. The only thing is that so for me in self-connection and connection with my Heavenly Father is that I don't take in as much from the outside. So the experience, I didn't hit as much of a level, but I was able to hit a certain level and that was good. That was good. When it comes down to making that connection, fulfilling that connection, I think it's not even that thing. It's that each and every individual, it's like a pathway that we're taking. This is my viewpoint. It's a pathway. And so when I'm making an awareness connection, like what you took us through, it's so important to just like really align in that entire process and be able to go down each and every single step. And so I like that you offered that opportunity for everyone, because this is something that has helped me tremendously just in life. I don't know if you recall, but years ago, I used to have a method and I would offer it to people. And it was when I would get into the shower. This was the way that I washed away my day or my pain or my hurt, whatever. And I said, keep it PG. And I would call it prayer guidance. That was my nickname for it. And what I would do is I would get inside of the shower and I'd stick my head underneath the water and I'd shut my eyes. And as I felt the water hitting my head, and I would go through the same steps as you, I start to just like trace the water going down my body. And then I'd start to think about the things that were bothering me. And then with my imagination, I would visualize, and I would feel those troubles, those problems running down my back and running down my body with the water and going into the drain. And so I called it keep it PG. And man, I'm telling you, I was able to release so much stress and so much pain through that method. But I don't know if that method will work for everybody, because it's all about that connection. It's about whether or not you're able to feel that for yourself. And so you have to get into it. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think as I went down the path of self-discovery, because a lot of this stuff we have a process of doing whatever we're doing. Like whatever person, like we're doing something. There's definitely a mechanism going on. That's just how our body keeps, our brain works. That's just how we are as humans. So these things are happening in the background, whether you become aware of them or not. So the exercise that I did at the beginning was essentially just that, just to let you understand and be aware. This is where the connecting starts, is be aware of what is going on within your body, whether you want it to happen or not. And so so everyone has their own way of processing these things, and not I don't think any is right or wrong. I can tell you about my journey personally, which is I never used to really feel the feelings. It was
Hmm.
just, it was a super, because, and we all, everything starts off as emotion. So I would just go, it would pop up, right? My principal emotion is the signal. And then I really quickly, because it would happen very quickly, I would start to process it intellectually. Boom. Right. And so that, that was going on for a long time. Then I got even more into managing it, right? So really started managing these feelings. Okay, I'm feeling it. Okay, then I started to identify it. I like what you said about feeling these feelings, right? As a part of what it was that you did, so I would feel the feelings, and then I could easily just identify them, and then it's easy now, and then I would process them, however that works. Currently, I'm really feeling into the feeling, because this emotional signal that's coming up to me, it's telling me something, right? A lot of the stuff may have been things that I thought I processed, but I probably didn't process. It was more so about, at this point, about me allowing me to hear what is going on with inside of me, and even thanking whatever it is that's talking about it, right? And into how I relate to it. Also just noticing like what is my what, because there's times when I'm having these feelings that I may just disconnect. Like part of the processing is disconnecting from the emotion for me. So I don't think I don't want to make it this like too high level, because I want to keep it like really on this grounded level space. Is all of these things are, they're neither good nor bad, but they are something within yourself that's talking to yourself.
Tools.
And not necessarily, I wouldn't call those tools. I think what we do with them, we use tools in order to to figure these things out. But these things are happening across the board, right? Like every decision that we make is it starts off emotionally, some type of signal, and then we later we rationalize it with logic, and we'll start to have these certain biases. So it's important for me to be impartial to these things as we're going through, because there's something there. I will say that as I'm feeling these things, it does help me to, going back to what I said at the beginning, was it does help me to create boundaries for certain things. It does allow me to slow down, so to speak, and be more present when I'm connected. And I want to say to people as well, like to me, there's no right or wrong way of how you do these things. Like some people will start to judge. It's super important to remain impartial as we start to connect with ourselves, because it's something going on there. We get a chance to kind of be with that feeling as opposed to being in the feeling.
Yeah, man. I love that. I love the comment you made about when you said, I never used to feel the feeling. That's a powerful statement to make. And what I've noticed is that people come from all different spaces and different places. So the way that we take things in is totally different. So for our viewers' sake, you may find that Mike and I have a lot of things that we align with so well. And then there's some things that we just didn't experience the same thing. For instance, in my past, I felt everything. I didn't understand how to not feel. I guess complete opposite. So where I came from was this place of, I can't stop feeling what's going on. Overwhelming feeling of what's going on, like painful, visceral feeling of what is happening in my life and in the lives of others. And so like this is interesting to me, because I had to learn how to control that overwhelming feeling. Like one of the things that Mike used to say about me when we first came in, he was like, I'm the empathetic one, right? I think he had a different word for me, but it's like, it wasn't some kind of talent. This was just natural. It was just the way that I developed for whatever reason while I was going through life. It's the way Hawks draw, experience from perception, right? You're hitting the nail on the head. This was my perception of my reality, but not just that. Okay. So there might have been some other things that had influenced that, right? So Mike, you talked about the bias, the bias so much. I love your conversation about the bias, and maybe some of our viewers will be able to go back and see some of that stuff that you broke down, the biases, right, that we have as we're growing up. My bias was different from everybody, right? Because there's only one Joel. So you can't be me. You could be my brother and live in the same house as me, but you still can't be me. You can't feel me. So this self-connection is dope because it is the reality that what I feel is only what I feel. That's it. My ability to communicate it, that's what changes the scales of our connection, right? From one human being to the next human being, or however it may be. But when it comes down to it, I still have to respond, respect, and react and think for self at the end of the day. And so the nurture of my lifestyle, the narrative that I was given from the age of 0 to 10, right? That is the thing that was really building me into the creature, the human that I am today. And so when you see Joel and he's coming forward in certain ways, yeah, at a certain point in time, I started to take hold of my narrative and create a different space for this being to be. But the basis of what I am still came from all the things that I learned in kindergarten, so to speak. Just as a little cliche thing, because we've done this episode on, everything that I need to learn, I learned in kindergarten. I don't mean it in kindergarten. I mean from the age of like 3 to 7, right? 3 to 10. Huge years. If we're not focusing on that on our children, I don't know what we're doing out there. Start focusing on that because it is shaping their core beliefs right then and there. And so for me, my core beliefs being around, and I don't know if this is the major factor, but being around my mother, being around my grandmother, being around my auntie, right? Being around powerful women. Now, I'm not going to throw no shade at nobody because everybody does what they do to the best of their ability that they can do. So let me just leave it right there. But these were the powerhouses inside of my life, and they responded to life differently. I respond to life differently with my children as the man of a household. But I'm able to impart with them feeling, and I do it intentionally. But I also impart the power of thinking through something and understanding it. So anyway, I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent with that, diving deep when I really had a question. And the question that I want to ask is, Mike, I would love for you to explain more about what it felt like, if you can, from this perspective, back in those days. Like, I don't want to hear about how you feel about it today. If you can figure out how to do that, I'm sure you can. But you said I never used to feel the feelings. And I just would like to walk in your shoes for a moment of what that must have been like in those days.
Yeah, brother. Some powerful stuff about how you connected and definitely from that 0 to 7 is that's that time, man. I saw Lil Duval post something recently, and he said, how can you not want me to judge you based on your past? You know what I mean? As if you didn't make those decisions. So he was basically getting at your reputation means something, like how you process things. It doesn't tell me exactly what you're going to do next, but past performance, the best indicator of future performance is past performance, right? The best indicator of what you're going to do in the future is based on your past. So that 0 to 7, it's pretty hard to change how you start to do things. You may dress it up. You may make it look better make it more acceptable, depending on what's going on. But the core of you still comes from that 0 to 7. I'm going to answer this. We all have this going on. Like some people are just more in tune. This is the importance of the self connection. You can become more in tune with these things, but these things, everyone has access to them. We may express it differently. It may be you'll express it based upon what is probably acceptable within your environment. This is how environment really dictates certain things, is because of what are we allowed to do within our environment. So you asked me about being I didn't necessarily feel things. I was raised to be a man in my culture. So in my culture, a man does not necessarily show your feelings on the outside. Praise God. I just dropped my father off, the Lion. I dropped him off at the airport yesterday. He was here for about a month or so. And for anybody, if you have your father in your life, or even if he's not in your life, go seek him out. Your father is a cheat code, because a lot of you'll start to understand a lot of the different things that are happening once you, especially at this age that I'm at, being able to actually have deep and conversations and connect with him. And it's really my young Mike connecting with him. Okay, so that's why you brought me up this way, right? This is why my mother was instilling these things in me. This is what was going on. So it was, as a man, as part of in my culture, as part of being a man, you have to take the brunt of things, right? Like you have to carry, you are the leader, and the way the leader is looked at is like you get to carry these things and not and process them in a different kind of way. So when I say not feel, it wasn't that I didn't feel anything, right? As a child, I cried, I'm sure, right? But there was a time when it was like, okay, I'm just not going to do that anymore. I'm going to find different ways to do it. Now that I'm reconnecting and going back and having a conversation. And here's the thing, there's nothing wrong with we're all special individuals in our own way. I don't want to be Joel, and Joel doesn't want to be me. Right? We can empathize, and I can see Joel, and I don't want Joel's feelings. I can walk with Joel's feelings. I can observe it. I can be with Joel while he's having the feelings. Joel can be with me while I have those feelings, but there's no judgment or I wish he would do this. I wish he would do that. I want Joel to have his journey. I loved how you brought up the children. I want I don't own my children. I'm not, they're their own individual beings that I'm just the steward of. So for me, with Elijah and with Paul, it's like they get to walk their journey. I'm just here as God. I'm guiding. I'm offering things. I just texted Elijah recently, and it was something about his grade. I was like, what are we going to do about this? And he said, he said, okay, yeah, I got it up to this. And I said, well, can you get it up higher? I'm just posing the question. He said, I'll try. And then I wrote him I sent him, this is the father of me. I sent him a emoji that said, the Yoda one that says, do not.
There is no try.
Do or do not. There is no try. And then he wrote back. He was like, I knew you were going to send me that. I'm just like, yeah. I'm just like, yeah. So in this journey as a father, I'm not here to take accountability or to manage or to more so control someone else's journey. I'm here to connect with them. I'm here to see what the possibilities are, right? My relationship with myself is that, okay, I'm accountable and responsible for the feelings that I have, and I get to do that work. But I'm not the perfect person either, right? So they have to do their own work. I'm just showing in and attempting to be as impartial as possible with the conversation that we have, because I don't want to be the one that controls them. I don't want to, and I think our parents did the best that they could. Most of them do, but none of them are perfect. They were perfect for us, because otherwise we wouldn't have been put in the situation to have them. But we get a chance to, at this age and with this information that we have, we get a chance to be super, if you're going to have empathy for anybody, have it for yourself, right? Like if you're going to start accepting anything or start to understand the feelings, because I want to accept your feelings for that you have within yourself, right? I think the what I one of the key points I want to get through during this conversation, and brother, I kind of went off, though, is for us to start to, as we connect within ourselves and certain things start to happen. Like I love the brother talking about how he came up. Some people could be bitter in the situation, right? Some people could say, "Oh, there are things that I wish my parents could have done for me. There are things that I would." When you get to a point of connecting with yourself, and this is what made you who you are, and if you accept yourself, and we say love a lot, we use that word a lot, but you start to love yourself, or you love yourself, then everything else that came before was perfect. It was just in the order it was supposed to be. Does that mean that the things that we do, we look back and we're not like, I wish I could? Yeah, that was interesting. I laugh at myself now about some of the things that, like, yeah, I can't believe you did that, right?
Mm.
But then at the same time, I'm glad you did that, because even within that, it kind of give us the flavor of like, okay, so I'm aware of it, right? Like I'm aware of it now. I can look back and laugh. You ever been? I'm sure there's been like dangerous things happen, and now you can look back and laugh and be like, "Woo! I don't know how I got out of that one. That was interesting." But if you can get to this point of just accepting all of that stuff, last week I think we ended on that, brother. You spoke about essentially what I call reconciling all of who you are, right? Like really becoming yourself, right? And accepting it and being that within the world. This connection, like that can't happen without connecting. We spoke about disconnecting, right? At what point is it? I don't know. And I'm curious, because you spoke about it, and I don't want to step on it because we don't know. And this is a awesome experiment for us to try. Brother, you spoke about disconnection at the beginning of the conversation. And I guess I'd love for you to unpack that a little bit.
Yeah, sure, man. It's a great question. I do want to illuminate one thing that you stated. You said have empathy on self, or for self is the way you said it. And I think that's a beautiful statement. So I just wanted to bring that back to the surface. That's the takeaway. If you're going to have empathy for anybody, have it for yourself. Like that, it took me some time before I learned that and understood that. Okay, so let me just give you all a short perspective on this. Many of us say that we believe in God, right? Many of us say we believe in God. Maybe everyone on this channel, maybe everyone that's reading this or listening to say they believe in God. Okay. God said, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy. Shout out to Dr. Mandy. Good to see you, my sister. God said, I'll have mercy on whom I'll have mercy. If God can say it and you say God is your father, why can't you have mercy on yourself? That's all I got to say about that. Like, start with self. Start with self, because the two greatest connections I believe that you could ever make is the one with the Father and the one with self. Two greatest connections you can ever make. So disconnection and connection, right? And I went over the definition. I appreciate that, Dr. Mandy. I went over the connection, a relationship in which a person, thing, or idea is linked or associated with something else. So if Cambridge, or Copilot search dictionary is correct in that a connection is the relationship, right? The relationship in which a person, a thing, or idea is linked, brought together, is together, or associated with something else, then there are some things that maybe we don't want to be connected with. Maybe. You all decide that for yourself. Like, I don't want to be connected with drugs. Right? I mean, I don't mind over the counter leave or, my prescription medication, but I don't want to be connected with cocaine. That's not what I want to be connected with. Right? I want to be disconnected with that. Right? I don't want to be connected with certain things, certain places, certain people, and at least at a certain level, right? The connection that I want is someone, something, someplace that has an association or a link to me. That's the reason why I believe in circles, right? The circles that I used to walk in, I don't walk in those circles anymore. Now, if I were to approach those circles, I may be considered to be an outcast, somebody on the outside of the circle. But I don't mind walking into that circle as long as I stay aligned with my own purpose. The who am I? So to me, it's very, very clear to me that my identity needs to be solid. I need to know who I am. I need to know what I am about. I need to know where I'm going. I need to know those things, because when I know those things, it is the difference in me associating myself. Now I want to talk about people, associating myself with people that have the same type of identity, even if they're not the same in their communication style, right? Like the difference between rap and R&B and country and jazz. Like there's a difference between the different genres of music, but it doesn't mean that the individual that is singing or that is delivering the message within that is not still carrying the same type of identity or the same type of message. And so therefore, I could be connected with them even if I don't subscribe to that style of music. So even if I don't subscribe to, because the music, it is the fruit, not the root. And my goal is to be more aligned with the individual on the inside, which is design by design. It's in the root of that individual. It's in their core belief, their core messaging, their core value system. So when I start to think about disconnection versus connection, number one, what am I connecting with? So from the perspective of where I was before, going back to what Hawks was talking about, the perspective of what I had before, if you talk a good game, maybe I might connect with you. I don't know nothing about who you are, but you talk a good game. You're wearing the same color shirt. You listen to the same type of music. But I don't know who the individual on the inside is, because there was a perception of a me some years back that was just okay with the way you presented yourself. Now, if you all know, we've talked a whole lot about masks. People wear masks. So sometimes we are connecting to a false or an impersonation of a being. We need to disconnect from those things. That's my philosophy. I don't want to connect with somebody's mask. That's why I love Mike so much, because he's the same guy. He's just real. I don't care if I agree with him or disagree with him. I could care less. I know one thing: if I call that man up at 2:00 in the morning and say, Mike, I need help, it ain't gonna be where you at. No judgment. I don't have to agree with everything that everybody says. I just need to know that the person that I'm connecting with is real, authentically real. And what kind of real is that? For me, they got a belief in God They got a belief in self, they got a belief in me, and they got a belief in us. Period, point blank. Let's move. If we're going in the same direction, we'll walk together. If we're not going in the same direction, hey, the phone call still works. I'm not going to lose a good friend just because you're going left and I'm going right. Phone calls work, brother. I'll check you out when I get back in town. We may not be able to travel this whole road together, but I'm not going to disconnect from you, even if I go to the uttermost parts of the earth. I'm not doing that, because once you find somebody good that you can connect with on that level, honey, you better keep that person right there. You better keep them. You better keep them, because you're going to need them one day, or they may need you. So do that thing. So getting back to it, Mike, that's my take on the connection versus the disconnection right there. It's about A, choice, and B, decision. And you know me, I'm operating 90% decision. I know I still make choices, so I'm going to give myself some grace here. Maybe even 80% decision. Give myself some grace here. But I know that I still operate with some choice, right? What'd you say, bro? Because that, man.
And that's super okay. Like we're not perfect. I was thinking about that today. Absolutely not. I think it's interesting. The thought process of it, and I think and I love it, because even if we don't necessarily agree, we can still be, in my mind, we can still connect. Like, connection does not mean agreement. That's absolutely the thing. I'm going to connect with everybody. I'm going to set some boundaries up, right? Like I would imagine that if a person is known to be, violent, I'm going to have boundaries in it. But when I'm around this person, I think that it's always important for me to be in connection with it. As far as I don't want to be associated with it. So I think that's where the kind of we kind of differentiate on the verbiage of it. Like I don't want to be associated with some of the things that you mentioned. I don't want to be known for them, but I can still be in connection with them. My circle that I had a conversation with somebody recently as I was in the old neighborhood, maybe about 2 weeks ago, and I saw someone I went to school with. This person that I went to school with was one of the first times that I was involved. I saw something illegal happen, right? This person was there. And I'm still able to have a conversation and connect with this person. I'm probably not going to be associated with this person. We're not going to be the best of friends. There will be boundaries, but I'm always in connection, or I attempt to be, right? Or as Yoda say, do not try. When I'm trying, I'm not in connection. So I get a chance to be aware of that, even in that. So I think that's an interesting take, because as I spoke about before earlier, the reputation is important. So you can start to be judged by other people with the company you carry, but that really doesn't bother me. Like, I don't care what somebody else has to say. So you mentioned being real. So to me, that's real. Like, it's not about what other people think. And I think sometimes that may come up with like a schism with certain people, because I really don't put too much opinion or too much thought into how most people feel about me. I'm sure there's some people, I'm with you, with the 80 to 20, because I'm not perfect. So I'm sure at certain times I'm like, man, I wish that person would think better of me. I'm sure that crosses my mind. But overall, it doesn't matter. I'm not even here for the results or nothing. I just want to connect with it. When you call me for something and we may be going in opposite directions, or you're choosing to do something, I'm going to talk to my brother and I'm going to connect with them, right? And we're going to have a conversation. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to go in that direction. right? But the connection is still there. Hey, brother, as soon as you finish doing whatever it is that you're doing that I don't necessarily that doesn't jive with me or whatever, I'll be here for you. We can have that conversation. I love clarity around it. So this doesn't mean that I'm just jumping to do things. However, to be in connection is super important, and I think that starts with I digress, the connection that I have with myself. Like I'm so confident and just really I do so much introspection about understanding and knowing where how and what I'm aligned with and going through the different experiences and the thought process and really attempting to understand others' nature, so on and so forth, that I'm okay with being in connection with other people with boundaries. Okay, you all are drinking, I'm not drinking, I can be around it. You all are doing this, I can be around it. I'm not, I don't necessarily have to partake in it, right? We can have conversations within that, right? And I'm not judging you for doing it either, because I don't necessarily think that it's a right or it's a I think our it's not really moral to me. There's a lot of the ways that I feel about other people is more subjective than just a hard line. But there are boundaries putting up. Like, don't force stuff on me. Like, oh, you're gonna have to do this, or you're gonna have to be with it. Nah, then there's definitely boundaries in place. I think even within our conversations with you and me, brother, we put boundaries within place. Hey, brother, I know you doing what you doing. That that's just not me, right? I think we've had that conversation a couple times where you do, that's you, but that's just not how I want to be, and I want to be free to be me, right? And those tend to be the people that I want to be around, and the more I'm in connection with people, the more with myself, and then therefore then can be because so within, then this more that they can understand, and sometimes these boundaries just happen because of of me being who I am. But I think we should all get a chance to try it, right? And the thing is about us being aware of it. So let's 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 disconnect from something, whatever it is. You can disconnect it and see what that does for you and what it brings you. It might be one of the best experiments you ran in your life, right? Like I disconnected from this person, and my life has just been everything joyful and everything it is that I wanted since then. Hey, what? Who am I to tell you different? I'm not going to force you to be in connection, or I disconnected from this, whatever it is, or I disconnected this part of myself, and this, and life has been great. I'm joyful or whatever, right? So you get a chance to try that on. There's no hard way to do it, right? There's no rigid way. I'm not saying my way is my way, somebody else this is the way. There's the way for you and your journey, right? One of the things also I was thinking about today as we got into connection, and I know this will probably be next week as we talk about connection and relation with other people, was um wanting to be seen.
Mm.
And it kind of just, people want to be seen. Not only do they want to be seen, but they want to be seen the way, and it's kind of a mask, but it's not. So it's like I want to be seen, but with my experiences, I also don't want you to look at me in a different kind of way or to put your judgments on me. So it's important for you to be impartial how a person wants to be seen. I think that's what we have going on within ourselves as well. Or we get a chance to. If nobody else in the world is going to see you, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. You should be able to see yourself. A lot of us who haven't done it before, you might start crying when you do it.
Mm.
You might start to get really emotional, expressively emotionally, when you start to see yourself. What this is going to do is this is going to help with a lot of this not enough, a lot of this worthless. The reason why we think that when in relation to other people is because there's something within ourselves that is. So imagine connecting with yourself to the point and you say, I'm enough. Just this is it. For Christmas is me. You know what I mean? I tell people that I'm the present. Like if you can start to really know and feel that without, I don't, and this may take time for some people. I'm probably already past that. But and then I'm not 100% either, because once again, 5 to 10% of the time, there may be a time when I'm just like, boy, you could have did more, right? We are that more word. You could have been better. I'm sure that crosses my mind from time to time. But ultimately, when you start to be connected, and you start to within yourself, and you start to embody this connection within yourself, you're like, man, I'm just a gift, and you are. Like I'm so I'm just a gift to it. You start to be in that way, and you start to attract people. Next week we'll talk about that. You'll start to attract those things, and you'll repel the other things. And if somebody were to tell you even different, it's what they say is water off a duck's back. It's like water off a duck's back. It doesn't even trigger you. The reason why it triggers you now is because there's something within you that's is kind of questioning it. And as we go, and one of the things I always talk about is when we go out, especially as a man, right? As a man, there's so many things that get put on you, right? You're supposed to do it, like you're just supposed to, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to, and you're just supposed to take it. You just a resource, right? Like you just and people could just take from you, right? And I'll get into that as well at some point where there's really none of that going on. But once you start to say, you know what, like the brother spoke about earlier about how unique he is, and there's a difference between thinking people should treat you special or how special you are, because in the long scheme of things, we're all special. So how special is that? But you're definitely unique, and what you bring just by being around, like you're important. If you start to feel that, right, not to be inspired or motivated, but really connect with yourself and feel that you are important, you'll start to not even attract, you'll just start to notice these things. You'll start to notice the uniqueness that you have and what you're bringing around to other people. And the crazy part, you'll start to notice it in other people. And then the frustrating part is when you try to change the other person to see what it is that you're seeing, right? Like I went through it, like you can't see this in yourself. Like, and there's nothing I can tell you for you to actually see it, because you got to recognize it within yourself. You have to recognize everything that it was. Man, I'm unique, and I'm going my path with, I don't really, it does whatever else is going on outside. It is because it's going to be what it's going to be, because I'm going to be walking my unique path. It just reveals itself to you. That worthlessness, that not enough, what other people project on, because a lot of people are projecting. We tend to project. So whatever people are projecting onto you, it's like, yeah, that ain't it. That's not me. For the purpose of the show, I wish I could pinpoint when I felt that way, but I can't. What about you, bro? Like, was there a time? Was there like a revelation? Did you always feel this uniqueness within yourself?
Oh, I definitely didn't always feel uniqueness. Oh. No, not at all. Not at all. I had different levels of when I felt uniqueness. I felt aloneness, and that probably was a unique feeling. So if I include that, back when I was, 13, 14, I felt aloneness. And if I were to look back at myself, I would say that was a unique feeling only because I felt like I was the only one that felt like that. That lasted, and it morphed, and it had different levels inside of the the dark days of my life, the dark years of my life. Then it came about this time when I hit somewhere around 20, where I felt like a second chance man, time to run. And I felt there was a uniqueness about me at that point in time. And a lot of that was externally motivated. I still had a struggle on the inside. Then I had another change back in 2020 when it was like this great awakening. It was the day that I began to use all of the skills and the tools that I had. And I had this high level of connection with God. I remember and I recall searching for the ability to have like this open communication with God. Because I felt like there was a communication with God, but I felt like the communication was like God would give me something and then that was it. Like I couldn't respond back and say, okay, do I go left? Do I go right? Is it today? Is it tomorrow? Is it next year? Like I just felt like it was a one-way conversation and I would just get like these downloads and I would operate on them. And sometimes maybe I was early, sometimes maybe I was late or whatever, through those different challenges. And then in 2020, it was like, no, I felt like I had an open communication and I felt that was unique. And so I've been living in that uniqueness for the last 5 years. And it has given me exponential growth because of that. That's also something that I based that right there. And that's interesting that you said that. But when I bring in clients into like my work, part of what I'm looking for is that they have that type of connection, right? They don't have to have it all the way. Strength with Tati. Good to see you again. Thanks for jumping in. But it's like that connection for me is so real, so very real. I'm not going to go around and try to beat somebody over the head with the Bible. It's not my style. It's not what I do. And and people should be able to understand it by the testimony I just gave, the different trials I went through, and the different levels of understanding and of awareness that I went through in order to be the individual that I am today, and my understanding of how many more levels there must be of me that I need to achieve before, the great one in the sky says, all right, well done. That's good, And so that was my last experience of uniqueness. And that is the uniqueness that I'm operating in. That's the uniqueness that I bring to my clients. And that's the uniqueness I bring to my business. And ever since I just allowed for that uniqueness to just be, you mentioned it earlier, it really polarized some, I suppose, and others, it was like magnets. It just attracted so many. And so I'm very much okay with that. Very much okay with that. I attract more that are like me. I don't work with all of them, but I attract them to me. And that's exactly where I want to be. And I want to share that with other people. Brother, it's interesting. You probably can't see all of that, but this is my vision board. And like part of my vision board, there's literally a picture of me and a magnet on it. And that's the stage of life that I'm in right now. Like the attraction. And I love that because, the work that you and I have done on ourselves over the course of these last 4 years and what we've put in to be able to, hit the level that we're at, the level you're at, the level I'm at, respectively, it just has shown that it has been beneficial and that it's been a worthy journey. So if there's anything that I could say to anyone else, especially coming up on closing thoughts, because I know is this: making your connection with yourself is so important. And to take away the word connection, learning who you are and how to be that you are is one of the most important things that you will ever do inside of your life. I would invest whatever it takes to become that person that actually is who they believe they are.
I love it. I love it. We spoke about it earlier within the show about if there's ever a person that the brother gave a verse, but that you should show favor to, it's yourself. You're worthy of that. Be vulnerable with yourself. Be impartial with yourself. Be empathetic with yourself. And treat it as this wondrous journey that you're on. Discover. This is the thing of self. Have this self-discovery about yourself. And I know what says, man, I'm going to repeat this one part, and being impartial. Be okay with it. Nobody else needs to agree with you. Nobody. Not your mother, not your father, not your spouse, not your kids, because, and ask me how I know. Who's up at 2 o'clock in the morning with your eyes just opened? It's you. It's you. And you get a chance to tap into all of these things. You can tap in, I believe in the Most High, right? You get to tap into that relationship, right? You get to tap into just this beautiful thing that you have going, this uniqueness of yourself. And once you do that and you're okay with that, then whatever other, because you got to really be careful, because some people have their own ideals of what you should be. Some people, it just happens that way. It's almost impossible to be, and it's impossible to be like non-judgmental. We want the best for everybody, right? But I heard of someone say that this impartiality, being impartial, is like there's a part that's pushing you forward and there's a part that's pushing you back. There's pressure going on. So once you become impartial, it's the awareness of the pressure that's happening. Like, man, I really wish this person would do it this way, but I'm going to allow them their journey, because who knows what may come of it. Like, it's not up to me, right? But the pressure, it's not that there's not pressure there. So I say, just you gotta tap into yourself, be connected, try these different these experiments is what we'll call it, because the only thing that's going to happen is there'll be a new iteration of yourself. The brother spoke about levels. It's just a new iteration of this. Oh, and the iteration ends up being like, I'm just more comfortable and joyous with me. Right? Like I think you reach a point when I got a mentor. Jim is 80 something years old. He's just like, I just don't care. Right? Like, whatever. Like, whatever's going on in the world, it just doesn't matter. Like, you get to that point where it's like, I'm just okay. I'm okay with me, man. Whatever happens, I'm gonna be okay with me. Wherever you are, I'm gonna be okay with me. I think that's one of the greatest joys of that is that you're just joyous within you, and you'll have it. It doesn't mean that you're walking around with a smile or whatever it is, because some days you're high energy, some days you're low energy, but you're okay with that too. Oh man, I remember one time, you and I had it. Like, we came on, and because the brother's always high energy, but he came on, he's like, man, I ain't got, I wasn't rested, or whatever the case may be. You take the show, you do what you do, you know what I mean? And I'm like, all right, I'm allowing that. Not, oh, Joe, you need to be high energy today, right? Like, no. Hey, brother, take as much time as you need. maybe as we get into the show, and it ended up, that's what ended up happening. Like we got into, and then you just, you know, you can't, you know, you did what you do what Joel does. So be okay with you, be okay with letting people know, right? This is the boundaries part. Hey, this is where I'm at today. Yeah, don't force me though. It's going, you know, and that's that, man. I think
I love it. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good takeaways.
All right, guys. Next week.
Next week.
What's next week? Is
relationship.
Connection. Yeah. So you all tap into that show, man. I think that show's going to be a lot. I think we often, you know, when we think about connection, we often think about others. This show is really setting it off, saying it starts with you, right? And then next week we get into relationships with others, right? And it'll be just as impactful. Other than that, anything else, bro? We good.
Man, I appreciate all y'all jumping in.
Yeah.
Words that you sent out from all over the place, whether you're from Mike's Facebook or X, LinkedIn, IG. We definitely appreciate y'all.
All right. AI Jonah, take us out.
Yo, check the mic, 1, 2, Beacon is the name. Lights up the city, ain't playing no games. Joel Simmons and Michael Seville, the vision is clear. Dropping knowledge, conquering all of your fear. Beacon, that's the sound of the future. The main hosts are here, they built the whole structure. Community strong, we rise from the ground. The beacon power up, yeah. Time to look up.